Yeah, this is just an expression of the chart, and it's a long way away from your basic black and white chart with the 12 houses and you have the symbols of the planets written into it. It's come a long way. Horoscope, perception, insight, expression. These bottom symbols, like I mentioned, this is the sun in the center. The star and the points of the sun would be the color the earth is in. Then you have little colors, 2 colors inside that star, and that's for Mercury and Venus. Mercury and Jupiter's, Mercury and Scorpio, Venus and Sag. Then you have Mars and Jupiter, the 2 Scorpio circles. Then you have Saturn. Then you have Uranus and Gemini. So you have the yellow and the orange. Then you have the green for Neptune and Libra, the yellow for. So I used to make these out, and then you have the color for the fixed signs, the red, orange, the yellow, the teal, and the purple. And there's the Aries head of the turtle with the sun in the head. So this is a symbol of a turtle with kept the zodiac on it, but it really did. I did, like I said, almost 1,000 of these, and as you did different people at different ages, you could see the different generations by the different rings on the back of the turtle. So there's a whole symbolical thing. When I first got into it, I had a center called the IAO Research Center, and really Yahweh was like a chant, Yehovah, Yahom. Like it was more of a sound, but in the letters, this little symbol in the center, there's 8 I's, there's 8 A's, and there's all the planets making the O's. So it sort of duplicated the symbolism of the logo. So this was my turtle logo. And this was a symbol I had designed for my own to represent. I did the chart. There were a few other people I taught to do the color charts, and they had different logos they would put on here. And just uses of color, like you just see things. You get senses of things. You get feelings of things different than just. There's lots of room for going and interpreting. Oh, Aries means this at first, and getting the logic going. But there's a whole other level you can work with a chart that's feeling-based, that's color-based, that's healing-based. The difficulty working with your mind is you can get into too many negative concepts or too many mental judgments. It's hard to get out of or make it increase the worries. Difficulty with working with colors is you can bring up wrong colors and make life a lot more unpleasant if you're not aware of what you're doing. But when it works right, when you're aligned to colors, when you see what's normal for you, this is my normal perspective, mixture of colors. I do have these charts. I wonder if I can find one of them. Let me just see here. Oops. Where are webinars? If I go up, horoscopes, natal. New style, Armstrong, eclectic. Okay, so this is, pick one of those. We'll take 4 and 6 or 5. Right, there's. I want to find it here. Oh, this is with the stars, sorry. There's a lot of different ones here, so I wanted to find one similar. It's going to be in another place. Okay, there's that one. Just bear with me for a minute until I get it. Maybe I better make them into larger ones so I can see better. Come on. Yeah, okay. That's the stars. Constellations are where? This is the one, okay. Okay, these are the 2 ones I wanted to find. This down. These are 2 newer versions of the same chart. Okay. at my chart. These were done on Photoshop. They still take an hour or so to do. I have to rotate everything into place and have to manually work the aspects and the colors and turn things in. So it still takes an hour or more, maybe an hour and a half to do these. But this is the colors. It has pastel colors for each of the constellations and the sidereal zodiac around it. We're going to be talking about these charts next week, but you can see here, and then you have the planets in it, and you can put the regular aspects. The squares are red, the trines are blue, the sextiles are green, and the minor aspects are broken lines. So this puts the aspects in. This one, the second chart on the right, it takes each planet picks up a color of the sign it's in and puts a beam. So here Venus and Sagittarius sends a blue beam off to each of the other planets. Here's the moon in Cancer, puts an amber beam out to each of the other planets. So every aspect becomes two colors. So there's a mood or a color or a feeling for each aspect. It's a whole other level of interpretation dealing on color. We're going to spend more time on this when we get to aspects, but this has the colors more distinctly: red, yellow, blue. You can see the colors in a better perspective than the colored pencils after they wore out over 20 or 30 years. almost 50 now. But so you can see this chart and the colored pencil ones. There was just like cameras with lenses didn't have the same pixel resolution as we have today. So there was a fuzziness, like not exact clarity to it. When I got to these clear colors, for me, wow, you can really get the colors clearer. But there was a certain art to doing this. It was very inspirational at the time. Okay, so I just wanted to bring those in. Now, okay, this is a heliocentric chart. Again, one of the ones done by hand. These were done in the early 70s. Colored pencil. Puts the sun in the center, has the 12 signs of colors, and puts the planets where they are heliocentrically. Well, most of the planets stay where they are. The other planets all stay where they are, usually. They stay within the same sign. Mars can change. Mercury and Venus can be in very different signs. And the Earth is always in the opposite sign from where the sun is. So there's different levels. We'll be spending more time on this too. But this is just another use of the colored wheels, the colored charts, and of color. It opens up a lot of new levels of interpretation. So when you, okay. This is a mystical star. The Star of David, as it's known in the West, but it's much more that it's around before the Star of David. This is an old Indian. It's in Kabbalah, in the Kabbalah things, but it's also in a lot of Indian and Eastern mysticism as well, which points to the fact that these things may have been together sometime in the distant past. But this, if you take the six-pointed star, it puts out the masculine signs or the feminine signs. Here we have blue at the top, red, yellow, orange, green, and purple. So you have the code. There's a code. The star, in mystical terms, was often used, or in magical circles, was used to represent the 6 colors. And they used letters to maintain the 6 colors. And it all hung on the top of this blue, which comes up to the winter solstice. The secret point, the point of inner mysticism, the initiate's moment of the winter solstice. Okay, but this tradition was passed on in many different ways. So people would get to know the Star of David. They get to know the star, and they have different associations to it. And they're not realizing it's really related to astrology. Oh, maybe the colors. Someone may have been taught how to use it for colors. They may see it for different things. They make their different associations for these 6 factors and how they relate to each other. But nothing really expresses it as well as the 3 primary colors and the 3 secondary colors relating to each other and the 6 masculine signs. 1/2 of the zodiac. So you'll find there's things like Merkaba, videos on Merkaba, and different things that talk about this mystical system, this mystical double triangle. Even Pythagoras used one triangle, and it always would add up to 10. It would go into magic squares. There's many associations to this. It's just suddenly coming up here and presenting it. I'm talking from kind of an occult or mystical side and showing how it was a code to represent the masculine, how the masculine and feminine signs really perfectly expressed beyond words the nature of this symbol. Now, this goes further. If we take the same symbol, it was used in a different way. The same symbol was, they changed the color letters to letters I-N-D-I-G-O, indigo. So the word indigo became a code for the 6 masculine signs, for the 6 colors, for the 6 signs of the zodiac, for the 6 male signs of the zodiac, the indigo boys. But the indigo was really a play on the winter solstice being the deep mystical point and how all the colors came out from the greatest darkness and manifested from there. I'm not trying to find anything. I'm just trying to show associations and show things that have trails going back into literature, into mythology, into magic, into Kabbalah, into tarot, into different things where these associations have some validity. It's just a language. So if you haven't been exposed to those things, it's enough to see they've just changed the letters, but they use the word and put the letters there instead of reading to just put the signs of the colors there. And then other liberties were taken over thousands of years. Different people put different concepts there. But I believe it came that the vision of color, of astrology, of these things all came from this source, and these things sprung out for it like the Tower of Babel, but really represent a real clarity that can be gained. We take it further. Another code for the CHRIST. It's been used for has been used in some of these drawings and some of these places representing the Christ part of the birth of the light from the greatest darkness of the solstice and how it triangulates out into life. You can go into studying the 7 rays, or some of the theosophical concepts, and they talk about the 6 rays and the 7th ray being encoded together, but these rays of light come down and manifest into the world. So in studying, trying to look from this world in our little human bodies at these rays, these energies coming in, the clearest we see it is in color, and that's the grossest form, but there's higher frequencies behind the colors and implications behind the colors. So indigo is one code word for it. Christ is used as another code word for it. But this is within this type of literacy or knowledge. So someone will say, oh, it's not, how can that possibly, this isn't talking about Jesus. This is talking about the mystical concepts of the cosmic Christ, or of the color and the manifestation of light down into the world. I'm not going to stay here. I wasn't trying to make a big deal, but I just want to show there's the symbolic association from thoughts and designs into color and color into life, and making these associations is a huge part of literacy and experience. It's phenomenal. Everyone has their own matrix, and these are structures within the matrix, whether we see them or not. But it's special when you begin to see them. And sometimes if you know these associations, if you're familiar with some of these concepts, some of these things, this will light up the connection of those ways of thinking into astrology, which often go on saying it's not astrology, it's all about mystical light and mystical things, but they're all interrelated. God includes everything. God made this incredible world so that everything has meaning. Everything has relevance. There's an order. So, yeah. This goes further. You can see this further in things like the Rosicrucian teachings, the Rosicrucian cross. Let's make this a little smaller here so you can see the whole thing.